Hi everyone, this is Nikki from the design team and I'm so glad to be here with you today. We're going to be looking at a Spellbinders set today. This is their, they have these 3D vignettes where it's a 3D card with so much detail and it's all die cut. So I'm going to show you how to die cut these pieces, how to put them together, and just what cute things you can make out of this fun set. And when I see cool 3D cards like this, I always wonder what kind of envelope they will fit in. So the final size of this card is about 5.81 on one of its dimensions, which makes it not quite fit in an A2 envelope. I'll show you at the end. It easily fits in a 5x7 envelope. Okay, and here is where we are going today. Lots of sparkle with glitter cardstock, so we're not doing much ink blending or anything. We're just putting dies together. Okay, so we'll start with the outline balloon piece. I am going to pop up in this side screen the number of pieces you need to cut. This balloon outline, I would just cut it in white. It's going to be those extra 3D pieces in the back, and it's going to be one behind your colored pieces to hold it together. Then you have the insert that you can put in, and you can cut one insert. It depends on how many colors you want it to be. So each of those cuts out a little section. A lot of people do 2 colors, which is what I did with this balloon today. And this connector piece, when I first saw this, it said I saw somewhere to cut 10 of them, and I couldn't figure out why, but you really need to put 2 per balloon to give it some good structure. This is called a Vignette Crossbar, and it's got little tabs on it that fit on this side piece that I'm going to show you. And this side piece has 2 pieces to it. I'm not sure why it's a separate die like that, but it's got those little pieces that you can stick the tabs through, and you'll see you can only put 3 sections in that. So the other 2 tabs you cut off, and they're the front and back of your base. Here's a closer look at the base. You can see the 3 tabs that come through, and then you've got your front and back. And I will include all these numbers in the description so that you can see them. Next is the basket piece, and then it has an additional piece that goes with it that does the top of the basket and the bottom of the basket. In my card, I did not use the bottom of the basket because I did some ink blending and it just gave it a great 3D look without it. This piece is what's going to help hold all your other pieces together. It's called the balloon stabilizer, and you want this color to be similar to something on the front because you will see a tab from it on the front of your card. The little circles are separators that help hold each balloon away from each other so they're not collapsing on each other. And then everything else is decorative. You've got your clouds. You can cut as many clouds as you want. You have 2 sentiments, blue skies ahead or keep smiling. So you can have those to cut out. And then you have your decorative, I don't know what I want to call this, almost like a ribbon or just something decorative on the front of the balloon. I did mine in gold and it looked really good. And that leaves you with a couple extra things that I didn't use on my card, so I'm not going to go into those. So I started with glitter paper, and I just picked several colors that were very similar in their color palette so that I could mix these together. And now I'm going to cut from the balloon. So you see I've taped it together because there's an outline and then there's the inside, and you need both of those. So I like to tape mine where I get them even and then put it down on my cutting mat. And here's how those fun colors look. So I'm going to kind of mix and match and make decide which balloon I like the best, because you can pull these 3 pieces out. Let me show you. So there is a little tab at the top up here where that bar is going to cut through. So you want to make sure that if you're using the piece, which this one I'm going to first start with this outline, you want to use a little sharp tool and make sure that middle cut out because you're going to be sliding that crossbar in here. So make sure you get that little piece out, and I would do it on your backing paper. I actually did mine in navy because I didn't want to see any white through the front if I didn't connect things exactly right. So when you have coordinating colors like this, you can make 3 different balloons, because I'm going to take them apart and use different pieces and create different looks of my balloon, which gives you some options if you want. If you're doing all this die cutting and making one of these balloon cards, why not make 3? Then you've got 3 colors and you've got 3 options, and it just kind of gives you some more cards to send later. Here's the 3 color combos that I came up with. So you've got lots of different options. Now let's build the basket. So quick reminder, you need 5 basket pieces. So I'm going to cut this out of craft, and then I'm going to add some ink blending. I quickly added some walnut stain here, and these have some embossed detail, which I feel like the walnut stain kind of fills in that bottom. That's why I didn't end up using these bottom pieces. I checked it out and added some color to it, and then I realized, you know what? The way the pieces are embossed, you really don't have to add that piece if you don't want to. Now I've sped this up, but don't worry, I will show you how this works. These are the sidebar pieces and the cross pieces. So I've got 5 of these cross pieces and 2 sides, and on these cross pieces you're supposed to cut the tabs off of 2 of them. That will be the front and the back of that little box, because you've only got spots for 3 tabs to fit in the side pieces, as you can see here. So here's taking that crossbar and it's going in one of these slits. So I slowed this down so you could see. You see how you've got that little tab right there? You want to try to face your tabs all the same direction, and it does take a little effort to kind of get it through that groove. One thing that I didn't realize until I started putting this together was that you need your adhesive on these little bending parts right here on the side. And so it'd be a good idea to take a little strip and put it there while you're getting all these tabs in, and then you don't have to try to do it after like I did. But this piece is, I think, a 1/8 inch piece of double-sided adhesive that I had here. Now that that adhesive is exposed, you can add your front and back tabs, and these are the ones that we cut the edges off of, if you remember, because we did 5 of those. And then this is the base of your project here. So we are going to put our balloons and things and stick them to this base. So make sure you use a good weight cardstock. Now that we have our base ready, let's look at what we've cut out and let's get our other balloon pieces together. So we've got these 4 that are going to be kind of like the stacked layers, I guess you would say, on our card. These have very small areas where they're attached to the basket, and this is going to need to be stable. So I also cut out 5 of these connectors of the balloon in white, and I will put those on the back of each of these. So right now I'm just showing you putting on the fronts, but I also cut out, so I cut 5 in gold and I cut 5 in white, and I'll call these like the balloon basket connector. How about that? Because it's connecting the basket and the balloon. But if you think about it, this little spot is holding up all of these balloons. So if you're not using a good heavyweight cardstock, it's going to be hard for your balloons to stand up straight. So that is something that I figured out with trial and error. Sorry about that. You know, we all have to figure these little die sets out. But I'm telling you, make sure you got good weight cardstock and that you put one on the back as well. So we're going to add a white one to the back. I'll probably skip that for you because I know you know how to glue things on, but you're going to need to wait till these are dry if you're using a liquid glue like this before you try to assemble the rest of the card. Okay, let's look at this connector. So this is what's going to go through the front of your card. That's why I picked navy, because it matches my card pretty well. And then we have these circle pieces. Remember, we cut out 4 of these, and there are 4 dots that these are going over. And you want to make sure that you can see light through that dot to know that you've got it lined up correctly. Basically, 4 of them fit perfectly here. I did use my little pin for my glue and stick it through there just to make sure I had it lined up, and I felt like that seemed to work better. Once you have one of these dots on, you need to put your next balloon on before you stick the next dot on. So you're kind of sliding your balloons down this bar, but you put your circle pieces in between to keep them spread out. So we've got a circle piece, and now we're sliding this balloon down onto the bar. We have 1 more circle piece to put on here. Here's using the pen to get that next dot on there correctly. So let me turn this so you can see it from the side. You see how those spacers are holding your pieces apart? It's really nice, and it helps just construct this so that it stands up well and it's got really cool effects. Now that you have your spacers in, you can see how this is going to fit in our little base here. We're going to spread out our pieces and it's going to stand up, which is really cool. So the type of adhesive that you use on these bottom balloons needs to be strong. It could be double-sided adhesive. You could do something like liquid adhesive. I feel like liquid adhesive is harder because you're going to have to try to hold everything in one place. I think using something else would be a little bit easier, but you can do whatever you prefer. I ended up using glue dots, and that seemed to work really well. I used the mini glue dots for this, and I just put a small dot on the front of each basket, and I did one at a time and then glued it to my base. So you need these little dots. You're going to need something to kind of pick them up with, and I like using a little pointy tool and then applying it where I want it to go. So I'm going to put it on the front of this basket, and then I'm going to do every basket the same, but I'm not going to do it until I've got one stuck. So I don't want to get them stuck to each other. So I'm going to do this one at a time. Once you have it together, here's what it looks like. So it stands up when it's here, and then you can press it down so that it can go into an envelope, and then it just pops back up. You can let go of it, put it back into its little square, and stand it up. I'll show it to you from the top. So you can see all those little spacers we made and the base. And then I'm going to show you this compared to an A2 envelope and to a 5x7 envelope. So it's such an impressive card. I think if somebody opens this from you, they are going to be amazed. And it's not, it's lots of die cutting and putting together, but if you love engineering things, this is a great one to do, especially if you're not into ink blending and all that. So here is an A2 envelope. I'm going to show you the comparison. It barely doesn't fit in this A2 envelope. I almost wonder if you could try to compress it down some way. I mean, it's just so slight, but 5x7 is the same postage in the US, and it fits perfectly fine in this size envelope. How cool would it be to open up this envelope and get this pop-up 3D card? I just think it would be awesome. So I think it's worth the effort. You can make several at one time and really wow your card recipients. So I'm going to show you some pictures of the base and just some more pictures of this card so you'll have it. But make sure if you haven't done it yet that you subscribe to the Scrapbook Pal channel and hit like on this video. That helps all of us. And I will see you again soon on the Scrapbook Pal channel. Make sure that you check the description for the number of pieces that you need to cut when you're making this card, and also for the products that I used during the video. I appreciate all of you so much. Have a great day. Bye.